Um, I would like to share my thoughts with the world, because whatever is on the internet belongs to the world. And I was having one of these intellectual experiences that I called the Fichte moment, and I will explain. Um, I I became conscious of myself as being the observer, the the absolute self, which is the consciousness of being one with the world, and whose consciousness is that of precisely the unity of his thought with the world. And it happened to me the first time in August 2018, and it happened again a few weeks ago. And I learned that this is what Hegel calls reason, but um, I I need to understand this intellectual experience through the mediation of Fichte, the German philosopher, because it is in his writings that I understand the most um, what it means, and I will share that with you. But just before that, I was just an anecdote. I was reading, I was starting to read a history of Africa, and I just ordered books about the history of Asia and the history of pre-Columbian America, pre-Columbian civilizations in what would later be known America. And this is a moment in the development of reason in the phenomenology of spirit. It is the reason which becomes interested in its world, which is the world of reason, and reason observes and investigates and seek to intellectually possess the world and the wealth of knowledge. And I am in a process of of wanting to conquer the world in thought, because I know that this world is my world, in the sense that it is me who experiences the world, and I want to recognize my higher self in the world. And this is a moment in the process of reason that Hegel understood so well. But now I will read um, quotes from the book Die Bestimmung des Menschen by Fichte, meaningful words which will serve as an introduction to Fichte's philosophy. I want to elevate the viewer, you who are watching this. I want to help you elevate um, your mind above the sensuous. I want you to not pay attention to the individual that you see, but to reflect upon the words and the meaning and the thoughts. And I I changed the book to make it fit with my own experience. The self, the I, the self, which speaks in this video, is not the self of this empirical individual, but um, this empirical individual wants you to become the self which speak. Uh, I have observed phenomena, social, political, economic, natural, and although I do not know all the laws in their complexities. I know that the phenomena are interconnected and that they obey a necessity, which is a rationality. And one can predict the result, the interconnection of phenomena. This is the belief, the faith of every scientific endeavor. It is the ability to predict out of rational understanding of the connection between the phenomena, and that's why nature is law abiding. And yeah, I step into my world as in a sphere which is familiar, with which I am acquainted, because I am confronting a rational world, and I can elevate my thoughts to reason, and I can equalize myself with the world. So the world is familiar in the sense that we are both rational. But who am I, and what is my destiny, my purpose, my aim? What am I aiming at? And Hegel says that we are aiming at absolute knowing. But yeah, I have made my way through uncertainty, doubt, and contradictions, and I understand that I am a dialectical thinking entity and thinking being, and that the path which has led me to the consciousness of the unity of myself and the world is the result of a dialectical process. This is how it is, just as it is, as true as you live and as you are. If I know effectively, in all actuality, only that which I have experienced myself, which is true, I can know nothing which I have not experienced, and I experience only what is within my consciousness. So my consciousness is the principle and the condition of all knowledge, and I can only become knowledgeable by letting experiences enter into my consciousness. And I know, therefore, nothing of my destiny, because I have not yet experienced my purpose. I want to set myself to work with, in a rigorous and determinate fashion. I don't want to hide anything from myself. Whatever I find as truth, whatever it may be, will be, for me, it will be welcome. I want to know. I am surrounded by objects which I must spontaneously consider to be subsistent wholes or totalities, which are distinguished from one another. That's the spontaneous view that I have, that there are objects outside of me which are individual objects separated from one another. But I know that on the quantum level, physical objects have no distinct boundaries, that what we perceive as unities are manifestations of one quantum field, so that the multiplicity of objects is a delusion of the senses, because a knowledge of physical laws teach me that there are only physical fields and forces made manifest. but this is difficult to grasp, but yeah. Each object has its determinate quantity of properties, is or is not what it is, has these properties in a certain determinate degree. So I spontaneously predicate categories, logical categories, onto objects, quality, quantity, degree, which is measure, and that everything around me is qualified and quantified and measurable. That's the reason why science can be mathematically expressed, because everything has its measure. And I know that uh, there is a, a question whether the categories, the logical determinations that I spontaneously predicate to being, to the external world, they are also fundamental structures of my own mind. This is the debate between Aristotle and the ontological determinations of being, and Kant, the transcendental determinations of mind. And I believe that with Hegel, that they are in a reciprocal interaction with one another, that they are both in the world and in the mind, because one is the reflection of the other. That's what I believe. Everything which exists is through and through, is determined through and through. It is what it is and nothing other. It seems to make sense to me that everything is determined, has its limit, its measure, its being, its fully determined being. I can think of indeterminate objects by abstracting through an activity of the mind. I can think of a book in general, a tree in general, uh, a house in general. But this thought of the, the notion or the concept is not real. It is real because it exists within my mind, but it is not wirklich. It is not effective, actual, because if I think about a tree in general, the tree will not appear in front of me. And only objects which are fully determined, that which we call concrete, are made actual or effective. And I know from Hegel's logic that what is fully determined ideally, in the sense of a logical idea, becomes actual in reality. And this is what Hegel means when he says the rational is real and the real is rational. And I have had mystical experience with the pagan community, and I have understood that the reason why these mystical experiences were actual or wirklich was because the pagans embodied the fully determined idea of paganism. So I understand now my mystical experiences from a logical standpoint, and I understand that what is rational, vernünftig, is actual, wirklich. And yeah, I will stop there and I will make another video because I want to understand.